All right, first question. What do we have here?
What's the worst case team building scenario, excluding injury or someone asking to leave?
Worst case.
Signing bad players.
Yes.
To long-term deals.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think, and I would say this is the least likely scenario based on how we know Daryl Morey operates, is that they give out a bunch of 3 and 4 year deals and overpay for guys who are career role players.
Or like acquire someone in their cap space by giving up draft picks when the player that they're acquiring doesn't really matter.
I think there's very little because a name I bring up a lot is an Orlando Magic target.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say it's extraordinarily unlikely, for example, that the Sixers are going to give Malik Monk 3 for 120 or 4 for 120 or a deal like that. If the Sixers strike out on the big names, the top guys on the board, more than likely we're headed toward balloon payments for a couple of role players, and we're in a holding pattern collectively, and all of us will lose our minds over that, but it is probably better.
Not me, because I was arguing for that the other day.
You say that until it's, December 15th, and
I will lose my mind because of what they missed out on this summer, not because of not building a team.
I got you. PHLY says Korkmaz coming back.
Yes.
Oh, no,
100%.
No shade.
100%.
I love Ferk, man. He's a good dude.
He's welcome back on this team anytime.
Ferk, if you see this, if you hear this
I thought
somewhere.
that was a suggestion. That's a worst case scenario.
No, it's a worst case scenario.
That's what I'm
100%.
saying.
Yeah.
Ferk, you are welcome on this show at any time. It's always pleasant to be around in the locker room.
He brings those big, goofy yellow shoes and a jump shot. He's got a roster.
The banana boat
That's
shoes,
a staple,
baby.
man. Hey. Kale wore those in Phoenix, and they were a big deal out there. People loved them.
And they're probably still goofy, too. That's fine.
Boots and SB Cole says re-signing Tobias Harris.
Oh.
Is
I
the
mean,
worst
we
case
just
scenario.
disregarded that one. That's not a possibility.
Yeah.
I haven't even, talking with people around the league and whatnot, that's not even been floated as a possibility.
Look, we have done shows on Bronny freaking James, and we have done zero shows on Tobias Harris.
His career here is 5 years in Philly, 5.5. We didn't even discuss him in that one. Let's go to the next one.
We're desperate for content. We're not that desperate.
June, baby. We're good. Draft and all that. Come on, man. Let's get to the next question here. What's the backup plan if Batum does retire? Forwards can make quick decisions, throw entry passes, hit open threes, and defend multiple positions aren't generally available for the minimum.
Well, neither is Nick Batum. He's not coming back for the minimum. So, at least I doubt that he is. So I think.
Well,
the backup
let's
plan,
just tell people what the minimum though for a veteran minimum like him is somewhere around what 2-3 million. Is that right for the 2-3 million? But of course, then we can get into the other part. But
I honestly don't know how much for market he would have outside of Philly.
Really?
Yeah. I think he'll probably get some, but he's not getting a full mid-level anywhere. I don't think. So maybe it's a room mid-level, maybe something like that. I don't know.
The room, maybe whatever leftover cap space there is following a big move. I'm not sure. I think the backup plan, if he doesn't come back, is you're not getting a player like him. He's pretty unique in terms of his skill set, the things that he's good at. So you're probably pivoting toward more of a true wing. It depends on
more athletic.
I was going to say younger, more athleticism. It's less on that. Now, they do still need the shooting, right? It's hard to find a quick release, good shooter who also defends, who also throws the best entry passes Joel's ever gotten in his career, right? So the answer is you don't replace him. You just have to find something maybe not equally good, but comparably good in a different type of player.
Yeah, it's just more. You just replacing them. Simplest terms, you place him with another wing.
Yeah.
And that's it. Younger, as Kyle said, more athletic maybe. I mean, look at what Derek Jones Jr. did with his minimum in Dallas, and now he's probably going to get paid after reaching the finals the way that happens. So you have to get lucky sometimes too with the person that you do find. And they got lucky in the trade with Batum being helpful. Whatever issues were going on early on where he didn't play, he was valuable when he did get out there on the floor. And if the backup plan is something else, got to get lucky too and landing that right person that fits once again your system. What's that?
Just some
What are you
of
chuckling at?
Some of the names
the comments.
people throw out. I love laughing at the chat.
PJ Tucker. You won a game or two.
Oh.
We have another question here for us, Bree. Checking it out. T-Bone. You're a Seinfeld guy. Remember George was trying to be called T-Bone?
I don't remember that.
I actually don't think
You
I
don't
do
remember that?
either.
Yes, when he was working in the office and he wanted the nicknames were a part of it. And
Oh, that's right.
Kruger. He's working for Mr. Kruger.
Honestly, the thing that lives rent free in my head from George is the jerk store episode where he then says he goes with Kramer's approach of telling the guy that he slept with his wife.
Yes.
That's a classic.
That was an unfortunate one. But let's get to George Costanza. T-Bone, favorite buy low, change of scenery trade candidates this offseason? Great question, T-Bone.
Anybody who played for the Atlanta Hawks last year?
So I'll go, well, since we talked about it before, I'll bring up the DeAndre Hunter piece again, because if they open up that's the jerk store, right? You run it
all
out
of you.
Run it all out of you. I'll go with the DeAndre Hunter conversation again as the buy low candidate, change of scenery, get out of Atlanta. They might be going in a different direction too with the number 1 overall pick, getting another younger player. They start to move some of their veterans like Clint Capella, even though he's a younger veteran, DeAndre Hunter. He's still a valuable guy at 6'8", decent contract, can shoot the ball, put the ball on the floor. There are questions with him, but again, could the change of scenery help to answer some of those questions that you may have had in Atlanta?
We're going to go a completely different route. Mo Bamba replacement, JT Thor.
Wow. That was not a name I was expecting to hear today.
On a minimum.
Wow.
Still good size. Can move defensively. Showing a little bit of a jump shot.
Cheap.
Might be a dipshit, but we're talking about a minimum.
Might be cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. He's done stuff.
Just
in
bringing
Charlotte.
up random stuff.
He's done stuff in Charlotte. A lot of times you just get out of Charlotte. That's the plan. Get out of Charlotte.
Okay, so I'm going to bring up a name that I floated on a previous podcast. Frankly, I don't even know if this guy can play at this point, but Chuma Okeke.
I'm in.
My guess is he's available for a minimum.
I'm in.
Because he essentially fell out of the rotation in Orlando. They had to burn what would have been his rookie year because they took him knowing that he had torn the knee up and it was supposed to be a delayed. I think some of his problems as a player are exacerbated by the roster construction there. Now, he has not shot it in the league, and that's a problem anywhere, but especially on a Joel Embiid team. But if you still believe at all in the defensive versatility, the little bit of self-creation ability, if he can shoot it, maybe you can turn him into something. But it is, to the point about JT Thor, it is a buy-in. That's a penny stock, if that. So we're talking real low. Honestly,
I'm in.
We talked about it a little bit before the show. I think Brandon Ingram on the other end of the spectrum is a buy low candidate. Like, I don't think his standing in the league has been lower than this over the last 3-4 years because of the playoff series, the clunky fit with Zion, the 3-point attempts dipping over the last few seasons. If the Pelicans come down on a reasonable price, you strike out on Paul George. It is not crazy to think, just needs the right situation. He is a talented player. He's not my favorite, but I think that, so those are the buy low does not mean it's a minimum contract. You can, as we saw with Kyrie Irving, you can buy low on a star level player and then get outsized production based on, what you gave up. So
DeAndre Hunter, maybe.
I don't want to, Hunter is a good one. I don't want to completely, we did 45 minutes on Ingram, obviously, so people know our thoughts on him. I don't want to completely dismiss him out of hand, even if he is not my ideal guy based on who he's been up to this point.
Yep, good one. Any interest in, because we're looking at Dallas and Boston for the championship, would you consider, I was asked about this one before, Grant Williams?
Yeah, but so he's buy low, but I don't want the long-term money with him.
He has 3 years left. He signed a 4-year deal with Dallas, 3 years remaining now. I think he signed, 45 million?
Hold on, I'm blowing up
maybe
right now.
around 60 at
Numbers,
best.
man, is on the case over there.
It is 13 for next year. So the benefit to him,
it's not too bad.
The benefit for him is that if you can, like you acquire Jimmy or Paul George, you can fit that into that second slot.
With that trade.
Yeah.
Sure.
So it'd be buy low, but without getting in the way of your.
But what about the player, even if you add those other guys?
Yeah, I mean, I always liked him in Boston. I don't know if I like him enough to get out a long-term contract like that. To your point, it would be buying low. It's just I wish a long-term deal wasn't stapled to that. He always ends up shooting, I think, a little better than I expect. I don't always 100% buy it, but
I don't think that's one I don't
contract.
trust the numbers on.
Yeah.
That's one that's like,
especially when you get to Philly and you know the Bermuda
Exactly.
Triangle of shooting. Next thing you know,
yeah. I actually was intrigued by Grant Williams coming out of Tennessee,
yeah.
but because it was like, look, this guy does a lot of things, and if he can shoot, it's an interesting play. But and that's the other part of it is it seemed like the second he went out the door in Dallas, I was like, God, I'm so glad that motherfucker
Right, they couldn't wait to get rid of him.
also you just can't have another Celtics player or former Celtics player. Like bad things happen to Celtics players in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
can't do it.
All right,
he's not terrible.
No,
I don't want to get if he was like a 2-year with a team option type guy, you might be able to talk me into it. 3 more years, even at I think it's a fair number for him, right? 13, 13 and a half, 14 is not terrible. But those are the type of deals that you don't want the Sixers to have on the books. That's when we're talking about worst case scenarios. If you're piling up contracts like that, I think that is a signal something is going wrong.
We all silly like the mayor.